Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We hope that you're enjoying your day and rocking the couch. So today we're going to take a little bit of time and talk about how it is that we can do something very important, which is to do a cash flow forecast. A little bit different than budgeting. We're going to talk about how to give you some very useful information, how to make sure you know when and if you're going to run out of money and what other options you need. Before we get started, don't forget, follow Rock the House at all of our different handles and social media platforms. We have lots of different fun content that's going to be coming out for you. Also, at the end of the session, which is going to be super short, we're going to take questions if there are any questions. And you can put the questions either on the personal Facebook feed, which is mine at Matt Radicelli, or text me 216-219-4561 here coming up shortly. So before we get started, we're actually going to bring in my best friend and business partner, Steve Tanner there. Steve, welcome to the show.
What's happening?
So we're here. It's Sunday. You're at home. I'm here at the office. I'm doing some fun things here today. And I know I'm all, family first and stuff, but we have some fun things happening for our team here today at the office. Tell us concisely, what is a cash flow forecast used for, and what do we use it for at Rock the House?
A cash flow forecast is a prediction of your cash position over a period of future time. And we use it at Rock the House to predict what our cash position will be over a 13-week period. And it's a rolling period. So we always know what our best predicted cash position is going to be every week for the future 13 weeks. And it gives you the ability to make strategic decisions about whether or not maybe you want to make a capital improvement investment because you have the cash and you'll be able to do it. Or on the inverse, if you're going to have a cash shortfall, you can make some decisions about maybe deferring some expenses or waiting on that capital improvement, or maybe even tapping a line of credit or choosing to use a credit card for the short term. So when you hit that dip, but you can predict that it's coming back up based on your modeling, you know what you're going to do. Perhaps you'll draw money on your line of credit in week 9 because you predict you're going to need it. And then in week 13, you'll have a surplus and you'll know that you can pay that line of credit back off. So it's an essential tool that gives you the ability to look at the next 13 weeks or more of time and determine what your, not exact, but fairly close to exact cash needs will be.
All right. Thank you very much. So what are some of the variables that go into it? So we're going to talk about how to do a super simple cash flow forecast, but what are some of the variables that are in it?
Well, your cash flow forecast has a few simple components. It has your current cash, it has your outflows, it has your inflows, and that's pretty much it. But variables, one example of a variable would be, for example, if you have, for a business, if you have accounts receivable out there, people who are beyond 30 days and maybe even 60 or 90 days, but you're collecting, they're just coming in slowly. That's an example of a variable that you could use as an inflow and sort of predict. You can say, I predict I'm going to bring in an average of X number of dollars a week of my old receivables. So where you might go out and calculate your balances due that your customers owe you, you might go out and you might calculate the retainers that you would normally collect during a certain period of time based on historical trends. You could also factor in accounts receivable as a variable as additional cash coming in.
Okay, so lots of things for businesses like ours specifically have lots of these variables. But today we're going to boil it down. We're going to talk about how for a household, which I think is super specific and important for us to say, how much money do we have coming in? For a lot of people, especially in our industry right now, that could be unemployment. It could be Social Security, could be anything else like that. For a business, it's what do we have coming in? What customers are still in the pipeline for the next few weeks? And we're going to take a look at that. Steve, thank you very much. I think you have somebody special that's actually sitting in the green room next to you. Would you like to maybe give somebody?
I got some backup from my boy Theo.
Tell everybody who that is right now and all the awesomeness you have going on there.
This is my son Theodore. He turned 3 months old on March 9th, and we think he has a tooth coming in, and he just started sleeping through the night. So we got some milestones happening.
Very nice. All right. Well, Steve, thank you very much for taking the time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat with you soon.
My pleasure.
Thanks, brother. Okay, so what I want to say before I jump into this is that if you dare to allow me to take your personal finances and actually use them inside the model that I'm going to put up here, I'd love it if you would actually shoot me a text message or pop it in the comments. I can only see comments, I think, from my personal feed on the interface that I'm using right now, because I'm actually broadcasting live to Facebook on 2 different platforms, YouTube and LinkedIn right now. So if you are interested in me using you personally and your personal finances in order to see what's going on, or maybe even your business as a live test, it would be great. And I'd be happy to show you how that's going to work. Okay, so we're going to jump right in now. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the main components of a cash flow forecast. And it's really simple, especially in a simple version of it. It essentially comes down to you deciding right now and looking at your bank account, what do you have in the bank right now? Physically in your hand or in the bank, this is how much money I have. Okay, so for your personal finances, that's how much is in your checking account, how much is under your mattress, etc. We're not talking about lines of credit or anything like that just yet. We'll get to that a little bit later. However, if you have anything else that you consider to be cash, that's like your 401k or your investments or anything like that, we're not talking about that. We're talking about what is your actual cash. Second thing we're going to talk about is inflows. This is money on the way in. Inflows are, what are you making from your paycheck? What are you making from unemployment? What are you making from Social Security? What are you making from your side hustle? Anything else that you have going on? Thirdly, your outflows. What bills are you paying? Are you eating? Well, I hope you're eating. What else are you doing to have money come out of your account? And then lastly, how much do we have left at the end of that? So as Steve said, we do a 13-week rolling forecast to rock the house. And that's typical because 13 weeks represents 1 quarter. In this case, I'm recommending you go a little bit further than that and do about 16 weeks for what we're doing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop over to this first one that's personal. And again, if anybody is interested, do I have any volunteers to use this? But I'll actually make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it full screen right there. Okay, so this is the personal version. And what this is this is a chart on the first tab of this tool that we built that says cash flow forecast. And then on the first tab here, second tab, it says Schedule A, Inflows, Schedule B, which is Outflows. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a personal budget of sorts. And we're just going to say that our paycheck is $500 a week, which you can see here. We've got a side hustle at $50 a week. And we have, somebody's going to give me $300 that somebody owes me in about 3 weeks, because I'm really going to start turning some screws and asking really nicely. There you go. On the outflow tab, which is right here, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that if we're paying about $100 for food for my family, we've got cable at about $120 a month. So you can see that week 1 and week 5. We're paying for a mortgage, $600 not per week, per month. Okay, and so on. So let's say that we still have some kids activities that are going on, and that's actually $50 a week presently. And again, I'm very mindful that right now we're actually talking about all this stuff happening because of COVID-19 and locking everything down for what you have. Down here in credit cards, we're looking at maybe about $200 a month. Maybe we're paying minimum payments on a credit card that we have, and this gives us our total outflows. So as we come to this tab over here, the idea is that in this tab, in the yellow cell, we put how much money we have right now. Okay, so if we happen to have $1,000 in the bank, these are the amounts of money that we have coming in. These are the amounts of money we have coming out. This tells me in this chart that at week 16, I'm actually going to have $3,000 in the bank. Now, the reality of the situation is that that's not typical for most people right now, depending on what they have for a cash position. So if you have money in the bank, your outflows are generally much, much higher than what I have listed here on this sheet. So again, if anybody else is interested in popping in and giving me some information, I will be happy to use your specific information in here and test it out. Okay, so the second tab here is for business. This is a little bit more complicated, but it's all the same stuff. Schedule A is deposits maybe you're getting from customers, payments you're receiving from customers in real time, interest maybe you're getting on some of your accounts, and anything else when it comes to inflows. On the outflows area, these are just some general ideas and some suggestions about what some or most businesses might have. COGS, those are actually variable expenses. These expenses only happen if you actually produce a product or a service at your job. Other expenses like utilities, rents, anything you're doing for payroll, those live here. And then lastly, whatever you have for long-term liability and credit cards. So all of those pieces of information can be very helpful in order to simulate your cash flow forecast right here that shows you, let's say you start with $10,000, but you have $20,000 of expenses on a weekly basis for your business. That means that you're actually going to go down pretty quickly and be spending about, well, $10,000 a month, but it depends on what you have happening weekly. Okay, so that's it in its simplest form. And what I'd like to know now is, what questions do we have out there about cash flow forecasts and what we can do to address any of your questions specifically? I'm not a CPA. Guess you could say I barely know how to run a business. But anyways, I would love to hear any of the questions that you have. I'm looking at them right now. Either shoot them up or text them. And I'm actually right now just going to show you that Steve is still there with a baby in his hand. I just had to do it, man. I saw you in the backstage area and I just had to put it up. Okay, I'm taking you down now. There you go. Okay, questions. What do you have for us? Okay, question number 1. How do we elect how much cash we have next week? Okay, good question. So the yellow cell that's up here right now, this is the cell where you put how much cash you have now. But next week when you do this, you don't take week 1 off. You actually just override the cell in what is D3 here. So every single week when you actually wake up on Monday morning or whenever you do this, you're actually just going to put at that point how much cash you have in the cells on those weeks. And then everything else will just go ahead and fix itself and be great. Good question though. So again, if you're on a personal situation or one that is business, you're just going to override the cash that you have, cash on hand right there in that cell right there. And I've got some instructions here inside the template. Okay. Next question. All right. How much would you take into consideration theoretically for a job that may be starting, but a paycheck hasn't been received, or you won't need know the exact income or amounts? That's a great question. You're referring to what I would consider to be accounts receivable. So any money that you have, because I'm considering this this scenario and what we have here, this is more like a emergency cash flow forecast. This is where money you don't have is money you don't have. That's what I'm trying to describe, is that if you don't have the money yet, you just don't have it. So accounts receivable in a business, those live on your balance sheet. And it's nice to know that you have that money coming in so you can call your customers, find out what's happening, etc. But good question. If you don't have the money yet in hand, you just don't have it. And you can't spend money you don't have to pay a bill or to feed yourself. Great question. Okay, keep those questions coming. If you have a question about your cash flow, keep it coming. Okay, next question is, what if your expenses are changing throughout the week? Great question. Best I would say to you for that is that throughout the week, I would do my best to change my outflows within whatever week you were living in at that time. But it's kind of like looking at the stock market, which you probably shouldn't be doing right now, unless you're a day trader or have lots and lots of money to burn. But this isn't something that you do every day. This is something where if you and your husband, your wife, your business partners should sit down and do this for essentially a long-term period and maybe just look at it maybe once a week at the most. But you want to tweak it as you go. But it's really just supposed to tell you, hey, when am I going to run out of money? When is this thing going to turn red? For instance, if I flip to the personal one right here and I actually take out the paycheck. Let's say that you're a subcontractor and you have no money coming in right there. This forecast is going to tell us that in week, let's see, let's have a little bit of money coming in, or we'll start with a little bit more. We're going to start with $3,000. This shows us that if we started with $3,000, didn't have a lot of money coming in, and we were only operating on our side hustle, that we're actually going to run out of money. And let me make this full screen for you. We're going to run out of money right here between week 8 and week 9. And that's the whole point. The whole point is that if you don't really know what's happening right now and you haven't mapped it out, it's just important to do so. The rule of no surprises is don't let there be any surprises. Great question. Which the question was, how do we deal with things that change throughout the week? All right. Well, I don't have any additional questions coming in right now. I also don't see any more questions or comments coming through. Last chance, if anybody wants to be the guinea pig and for us to use your personal finances, please let me know right now, and I will do my best to hammer that out for you. Also, Don't forget to follow Rock the House at I Got Rocked and RTHAV for a lot of other things. And let's see, what else do I have for you? If you're interested in the templates, just go ahead and shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get the template to you in a timely manner. I've got templates for personal and templates for business. If you just shoot me over an email, I'll do my best to get that on for you and make that happen. Okay, we got another comment coming in. Okay, so Kristen just said me. So Kristen, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, are you saying me because you are ready to have your finances put up here? Because if that's the case, I'm ready. Kristen, I want you to monitor your text messages right now, because I'm going to shoot you a text, and we're going to make this happen whether you want it to or not. Kristen is a friend of mine from Orlando, Florida. She just received my invitation to join in. This ought to be fun. Oh, yes, you should. It's happening. Hit that link up from a laptop that has a camera on it, and we are going to make it happen for you. Coming back to center. All right, I can see some more login. In the meantime, hey, Steve.
What's up?
I'm just bringing you back. I'm just killing some time until Kristen jumps in to join us.
Cool.
We're going to be doing some one-on-one training. Tell me, what is your favorite thing about being a dad?
Every day is a new adventure. Watching him learn and develop every day and do something new, or realize something new, or say something new is pretty amazing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Kristen's texting right now and saying to everybody, I'm popping you off the screen, do I really want to do this? And I think we have to be vulnerable. I think if you want to give me slightly different numbers, or maybe, I don't know if it's the business, I don't know if it's the personal, I'm not going to push you into it, Kristen. If you don't want to do it, don't jump in. Everybody's tuning in. It's like a horror movie right now, thinking, oh my gosh, is somebody really going to do that? Are they brave enough? Who knows? All right, I'll wait another 2 minutes or so to see if you want to pop in to go there. Otherwise, I'm still open for questions for the next minute or two. And as you know, Rock House is going to be putting up lots of content. You've probably seen some of our, blank now, stay healthy, party later. The whole point is there's a lot that we can do right now in order to make things easier for those around us, those that we love. And we're going to do our best to keep giving you fun content that's also useful. And we also have to keep busy, right? Besides taking phone calls and emails from customers that are changing dates and interested in dates that are long, long away, we're also coming up with fun things in order to show you how to do exactly what you're seeing right now. And like it says back here on the board, keep us in mind for all of your streaming and production and AV needs, because that's what we do. Streaming was a big part of our business before, but as you well know, that has exploded in the last week or so. And we're ready. And of course, if you don't know that, do it right, make it rock. Very, very important to our business. Okay, popping this banner off here. Kristen is logging in. Yes, very cool. All right, so Kristen, I am ready when you are. We also have another couple comments and questions coming in. Steve, it seems that my wife is very excited about your baby's cheeks, which is super cool. That's fine. Show everybody the baby's cheeks. Baby. I'm actually going to mute that. I'm just kidding. Very nice. Thanks for the comment, love. Shout out from Platinum TDM saying that Platinum TDM loves working with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We love working with you guys too. And we have done some awesome stuff together and will continue to. All right, Kristen, still logging in. You don't have to show us anything. You just have to show me your face. So jump on your phone, jump on a webcam, whatever it is. And as soon as you pop in with that link I sent you, then I'll be able to put you on the screen with or without your face. Totally up to you. Additional questions? Keep them coming. Post a question on my personal Facebook feed or text 216-219-4561. and I will help you out. Got another question coming in the meantime. The question is cash flow spelled with or without a space? Cash flow with or without a space? One word or two words?
I'm going to say 2 words.
Okay, thanks. I Googled it for my purposes today, and I went with 1 word. So thanks for calling me out there, Bob. Appreciate it. Okay, Kristen has joined us. Here we go. Hello, Kristen.
Space.
Oh, man.
Hi.
I don't know what I just got myself into.
I don't know what you got yourself into either, but I want to just say thank you very much for being vulnerable, which we talk about all the time. Kristen and I are not only good friends, but we're in a group called the DJ Think Tank together, which is a benchmark group for production and entertainment companies across the country. Kristen, you are going to help me do a demonstration. Are we doing personal or business today?
I am not doing personal.
Okay. So business it is?
Business it has to be.
Okay. So Kristen, why don't you take like 30 seconds or a minute, tell everybody about yourself, what your company does, and go plug away. Go for it.
All right. What's up, guys? I don't know who's watching this, but I'm Kristen. I own RDJ Rocks out of Orlando, Florida. I am social distancing today with my Sunday Funday shirt, hanging out with my husband and a friend of mine doing business stuff. So my company's out of Orlando. It's RDJ Rocks. We're the all-female DJ team. And we also have a photo booth rental company, which is Photo Booth Rocks. So we do, I would say, anywhere between 800 to 900 events a year, mostly in the wedding market, with a little bit of corporate. And like a lot of you guys out there, we are currently experiencing an influx of phone calls for postponement. So this has been a really fun 7 days for us.
Yeah, right. Very fun 7 days. And in your perspective, did it really start to hit you within the last 7 days, or did you see anything come in before that?
It was Monday when the avalanche came. I had a feeling that we were going to feel the effects of it before that, but really Monday was like doomsday.
And as we saw, things were evolving every single day of the week. So it's kind of like what happens when you're talking about a cash flow forecast. You might have had a single plan or thought one thing about your business on Monday, and by the time Wednesday or Friday hit, you're like, really?
Yes.
What's next?
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for being vulnerable. Thanks for hanging it out there and helping us out. I'm going to flip over to this, and we're going to have the screen share on the screen. We're going to go through the business version of this for you, which I've emptied out, and let's do it. All right. So let's start with the amount of cash that your business has on hand right now. And again, don't include anything personal. I know a lot of us, we take monies out of the business and then just sort of set it aside. So come up with a real or fictitious amount for cash. And I want you to just tell me what that is. And then we're going to talk about expenses for the business.
Okay. So I can pull up the bank account, but let's just say, can I give round numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do all round numbers for this sake of speed for everybody watching today.
Okay. So let's say 300,000.
Okay. All right. So first of all, for the size of your business, those of you that don't know, I do business executive coaching and consulting, and $300,000 for a business of your size is you being extremely well capitalized. So we always recommend that you have a minimum of about 10% of your annual revenues sitting in the bank at any time. And I don't even want to consider that rainy day. I just consider that for the ups and downs of operating your business. So Kristen, that's a very, very fortunate place for you to be. Now, we haven't looked at your inflows or outflows yet, right? But in general, that's better than having no money, which I'm sure a lot of people, when they're doing the cash flow forecasts, I got to say that's rough, because if they have no money, then this is a very, very different scenario for what they're doing. Okay. So we're going to start with $300,000. As we can see, the tool right here says that we've got no inflows and no outflows yet, and that we have an ending balance this week in week 1 of 300 grand. Okay. So for inflows, you own a DJ company. So you have things that come in that are deposits and retainers and then final payments. So right now, how many weeks do you go right now with zero payments from shows that are actually being executed? Do you have any monies coming in?
Yes.
Okay. So give me an estimate, and we'll just go, something like the next 6 to 8 weeks. Give me an estimate of how much money you think you're going to have coming in week 1, week 2, week 3. Round numbers.
let's just say, all right, well, okay. So the good news is that wedding sales is still happening.
Okay.
So not as much as it has been.
Yep.
So let's just cut that number by like at least 25% and
So
say,
how much did you collect this last week in retainers? In the midst of all this chaos, how much did you collect in retainers?
I don't have that number yet.
Okay. Take a guess.
Let's go super duper 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 conservative and say $2,000.
Okay. So then let's just go ahead and, for the sake of the exercise, let's just say that we had $2,000 coming in through the period of 8 weeks, which I would assume you have heavy or affected dates, heavy postponements over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So are you executing any jobs in the next 6 to 8 weeks? So then can you estimate over the course of that 6 to 8 weeks how much money you'd have coming in rather?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull my spreadsheet.
Okay. And while she's doing that, this is important for everybody to realize that not everybody's businesses have been drastically affected. It's some people are in businesses that don't get hit as hard. Our industry happens to have been hit very, very hard. And essentially the entertainment and hospitality industry is basically coming to a grinding halt. Kristen, flag me down whenever. I'm just stalling to make sure.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so your question is how many final payments are coming in?
Yeah, what we have in like last week, next week, the week after, how much would you estimate you're going to be collecting in final payments?
Never mind. Let's say 0 because all their balances are already in. So at this point now we're looking at because our balances are due 30 days out. So at this point we're looking at April. So we're looking at basically the end of April, beginning of May that are postponing.
Bless you.
Thanks.
Okay, so do you anticipate that in week 5 you're going to start to collect more money from your customers, or no? And is that a situation where if you're not producing more events, you're still going to have nothing coming in?
Let's say no on that, because at this point in time, I haven't made the decision for those that are postponing to pay me their final balance right now.
Okay, perfect.
I change my mind.
Okay, so friend of ours, Adrian Kavlin, just said, did we mean 10% on reserve as retained earnings? Just to clarify, we just mean that if your business does $3 million a year, we want you to have about $300,000 on hand. So 10% of gross revenues on hand to do whatever you can to weather storms like this that come up. And that's really that's a minimum recommendation. Okay, Kristen, are there any other forms of income or inflows that your business is going to have in the next 6 to 8 weeks?
No, other than final payments and deposits on new events.
Okay, so you're not planning on selling some of your old used gear on eBay. You're not planning on opening up a craft studio in your warehouse. Nothing right now that's happening business oriented that's going to draw money into your business.
No.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go to outflows. Each one of our businesses for entertainment and production companies has 2 different categories of expenses. COGS, which are the things that happen only when we go to produce a job. For instance, you have a DJ, a whole fleet of amazing, badass female entertainers, I must say. And they go out, they get paid to go do a job, but if the job doesn't happen, they don't get paid. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in most companies like ours, our cost of goods sold, which is up here in the upper category, it's essentially supposed to be blank. Okay, right now when we're grinding halt, dead stop, it's kind of blank. What we're going to focus on today is what happens for your fixed expenses. All right, so again, we're going to go rough. If you have access to one of your P&Ls, it might actually be easiest for you to pull that out on a monthly.
Yep, pulling it up right now.
Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll just enter in some monthly stuff for you. And what we're going to get to here, and again, Kristen, thank you so much for hanging it out there, is that even if her business says that she can survive for 16 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever it is, there are some companies and households that may not be able to wait 8 or 10 weeks to make decisions that could mean life or death or being able to eat or not. It's very important. Another thing I want to point out that is if you're an entertainment or production company, not only do you have to worry about how much cash you have now to either sustain payroll if you've chosen to continue to operate, which many companies have gone down to skeleton crews or having minimized payroll completely, is that you have to also still be able to produce those events, right, Kristen, that you already have the final balances for. So if you drive your company to 0, you drive your company to no money, There's no money left to pay the people and to reopen the doors when everything ends here and gets better and everybody's able to come out of their houses. So another very, very important point. This isn't just about how much money you need to survive. It's about how much money you need to jumpstart your business and start back up when it's time. You have that P&L ready to go?
I do.
Okay. You'll jump around yours. These are just a recommendation for the order of things. Let's start with some big ones. So you just go ahead and give me a category, shout it out, and I'll start filling stuff in.
Okay. How about we do payroll?
Okay. Payroll. Go for it.
Okay. So payroll is at, let's say, $23,000 a month.
Okay. And are you currently expecting that presently you're going to keep everybody on payroll through this?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm putting that in monthly then, as we're seeing this happen. If your business, for anybody else watching, you pay payroll twice monthly, you might enter it in differently. I'm just entering it in this way just for ease of the example. Okay. What else you got?
Oh, yeah. You took that number and divided it by 4 for weekly, right?
Yes. Oh, no, I put it in on week 1 of every month.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's not even talk about cost of goods sold, right? So let me skip through those.
Yep.
Okay. Payroll expenses done. Okay. So let's look at, marketing we had to cut for sure. 100%.
Yep. So you're stating you've already sort of turned the faucet off on some expenses that aren't required to keep your business open, right? So what about things like rent and utilities?
Okay, so let's go to those. So rent and utilities is at $7,500 a month.
Is that rent and utilities?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good.
Rent, utilities, office expenses, and any insurance to do with the office.
Okay, what about other types of insurances that you have? Liability insurance, healthcare, things like that.
So that I lump into payroll expenses.
Okay, and what about your business liability insurance?
That one I think is under the regular office expenses as well.
So that's in your rent number you gave me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what other expenses do you have that are big chunks for your expenses?
So we have professional fees, which are about $31,500 a month, $3,000, let's just say $3,200 a month.
Okay.
Let's have, we have a bunch of vehicles that do delivery, which we have those at about $7,000 a month.
So are those the notes for those?
Yes.
Those are, okay. So down
here.
here.
And gas and maintenance on all of them.
That's fine. For some simplicity today, we're just going to put those in one chunk. So down here, I'm just going to put that this is vehicles for you because these are notes. Even though gas is a cog, we're going to go, okay. So you said 7,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $7,000 per month. Got it.
And the only other giant one would be the marketing, which is about $7,000.
And are you still spending that? Is that things because you have, you're not spending any of it? What about software as a service, things you pay for that are monthly, that things like your CRM or?
Yes. So let me
why don't we just pick a really sloppy number that's just basically everything else that we haven't talked about today, so we can get this buttoned up. What do you think? What's sort of everything else you're not thinking of lumped into one number?
Maybe $1,000.
Okay, so I'm just going to put that down here. I'm going to put that in supplies, and I'm going to override it to other. Okay, and $1,000. Okay, so you told us at the top that you have approximately $300,000 sitting within business accounts. And presently our inflows say we're making about $2,000 per week on the inflows. I'm actually going to cascade this out here, even though we sure do hope that things open up around 8 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be good for all of us? All right. I know that's going to fluctuate for you. And then the outflows, we're currently showing that we have $41,700 per month that I'm presently showing on a monthly basis. We didn't break it up week to week. And let's talk about that real quick. We all have payments that have to be made at different times of the month. So it's important when you're doing a cash flow forecast to show exactly what week you're going to be sending the payment to everybody, because that's going to tell you when and if you're going to be in trouble if you run out of money. Okay, drum roll, please. Our chart here says that we started with 300, and at the end of the first week, we were at 260. And then by the time we get down to week 16, we are left with, without having any revenues for the business, what looks to be, what does that say, 165-ish? Let me zoom in there. Yeah, $165,000 based on what we're doing. So Kristen, your business looks like it's healthy, and it looks like you're not going to have to go anywhere else to get a loan or anything else in order to keep the doors open, right? So that's what this rudimentary example says. What questions do you have so far? Questions or thoughts? Anything?
Nothing yet.
Okay. So let's then use your data, because I think that at the size of your company, this could be very, very relevant. What if somebody had, and they thought it was a lot of money, what if they only had $100,000? What this would do is this tool and this concept would show them that at the end of week 8, heading into week 9, they run out of money, which is really scary, but really important to keep our head out of the sand and say, even though it's scary, we need to know that we're going to run out of money so that we can change our expenses now. Maybe we can't keep everybody on payroll. Maybe if we keep everybody on payroll, we can go, what is this, 8 weeks? And what if after that, we have to shut it down? Or what if we just shut it down now, and that way we can actually go indefinitely, or whatever that looks like. Kristen, thank you so much for giving us an example here. We really appreciate it. One more time, why don't you give a plug to your company, tell everybody how to reach you, how to reach you on social. Yeah, give it out there.
What's up, guys? Again, it's Kristen Wilson out of Orlando, Florida. I own RDJ Rocks, the all-female DJ team. You can reach me either at Meet Kristen, which is my Instagram, or at RDJ Rocks. So sending love to everyone. I know we all have difficult decisions to make, and the weeks aren't easy, but we're all in this together. So thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Kristen. I appreciate it, and you have a great day.
You too.
See you. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much, Kristen. That was very, very kind of you to, like I said 2 or 3 times, hang them out there like that. That's super great. All right, well, this went much longer than we expected. We don't have any additional questions that I see. The question that I do see, though, is where can you get this and make it happen? And as I said before, all you have to do if you're interested is just email me, matt.raticelli@rthgroup.com. I will do my best to get these out in a timely manner and give you blank versions that you can override and use. That's about it. Again, don't forget, follow Rock the House at all of our socials. Would mean a lot to us if you would do that and share anything that you see that we post. And that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. You have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will roll out some new, fresh, and additional content tomorrow on Monday, which is day 8, right? See ya.